Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway, one of the hotbeds of racing action throughout the entire 1UP racing calendar. And it is here for 70 laps today, where the 1UP Nitro National Series will do battle for race number 4 of this still young season. FPM drivers have won all 3 races so far. Can they go 4 for 4? And if they can't, who will take the fight to them here today at Atlanta? Alongside me in the booth to bring you all the action for today's race is James Ellison, back with us once again. Great to have you with us, but that's the main story this weekend. Can anyone stop Finguy-Psytomi Motorsports? They have utterly dominated the opening stretch of this season.
Well, absolutely. The fact that all 3 of the drivers don't have to worry about who's gonna win first, who's gonna win second or third, or if they're even gonna win, they got that out of the way. But now that they've got that out of the way, they want to keep the momentum going. But you also talk about all the other competitors in the field who are looking at that thinking, there's no way we're letting that continue. So I'm seeing a lot of different candidates for being able to, stop this. But at the same time, I don't think that FPM is going to let this go easy.
No, and even though they start in the midfield today, I would be very surprised if they didn't factor into this race one way or another by the end of 70 laps today. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 70 laps of action, and it's Yadis Terzic on pole position. He didn't have very much long run pace in practice this weekend, but he had a really good hot lap to put himself on pole position. How long will he be able to stay up there compared to those around him? And it's a bunch of Hondas up at the front of the field, with Andrew Langley starting second, Ryan Arnold fourth, the lone Chevrolet in the top 5, Chris Lattimore in third, and Stephen Hunter making his first Nitro National start of the season for Stormbreak Motorsports rounds out the top 5. We got all 3 of the Farinco Hondas up in the top 10, all 3 of the Spa cars in the top 12. This bodes for some great racing today, but it's anyone's guess who's going to win today, because the racing here is always so unpredictable.
Oh, absolutely. You never know what you're going to see. I can remember just about every race that I've either watched or been in the booth for. Each one has had their own unique result, or at least mostly unique result, and it's been really exciting to see, because sometimes you get an expected winner, other times maybe a little bit less expected, but some races like today we could see an out of the blue one, because there are some that are that determined, especially those looking for their first victory.
That being said, very well put indeed. With that being said, we've got 42 drivers ready to stake their claim on victory lane today. It's the 1UP Nitro National Series from Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the green flag set to get this great race underway in just a short while. Stay tuned, folks. This is going to be one you don't want to miss. 42 cars rolling at Atlanta. It is Terzic and Langley on row 1. The green flag is now out and in the air. We're racing at Atlanta, and Terzic gets an incredible launch off the line. He's going to lead Langley and the rest of the field off into turn 1. Who's going to be the first one to stick it 3 wide? Because that's going to be something we're going to see all day long. Is 3, sometimes 4 wide in the pack, trying to make moves, but so far everybody's keeping it neat and tidy in the first half lap.
And it's getting a little bit of a scramble toward the back of the field, but so far so good up here. You see Eric Max putting pressure on Stephen Hunter, who's trying to put pressure on the 3 of Chris Lattimore, who is going for the lead already.
And he will lead lap number 1 over Yadis Terzic. So from third on the grid comes Chris Lattimore to lead the opening lap. I believe that's his first lap led of the season. As further back, Nick Breeding getting a little out of shape, pushing Andrew Langley through 1 and 2. He's going to be side by side with Paul Villalobos, who's off to a fast start in the 66. Right behind him is his teammate Riley Hooper in the 69. And we got 3 wide going on for 4th place. It is Villalobos, Ryan Arnold, and Yadis Terzic, 2 of the Farinco cars, up against the Robbers Racing Chevrolet.
And of course the Mercedes of Hunter there, but seems like it's similar to how things play out at Daytona and Talladega. You get shuffled to the high side. Depending on how strong your car is, given the difference in the track style, with the similar racing style, you got a chance at staying up there or falling back. Which right now, staying up there seems to be the name of the game for the 3 Chevys.
Oh, we got one blowing up in the mid pack, and it's AJ's out.
Oh, that's heartbreak right there.
AJ Zhao started this race in 17th. He was making his way. He had just cracked the top 10 when that had happened. That's going to split the pack up just a little bit. You can see Nate Champion there making his first start of the season in the 04. But for AJ Zhao, he's not even going to make it back to the pit lane. Will this necessitate a caution flag? I don't see one being flown yet, so I think we're going to be okay.
I don't think we are.
But for AJ Zhao, that's his race done after just 5 laps.
And that's, like I said, heartbreak. That you don't want to see that, because you take all this time, you go through the practice, you go through the qualifying. In the case of the go or go home, those who are outside the top 30, you go through the go or go home, and then you go and get into the race, and then 5 laps in, your motor gives it. And that's heartbreak for anybody, especially those who are trying so hard to continue to be competitive.
But meanwhile, up at the front, it's Paul Villalobos who's assumed control of this race. As we look at the back of the field, see where your favorite driver is running early here at Atlanta. Nate Champion, you saw there, a former pole sitter here in the Truck Series. Mike White, who won this race last season in his series debut for Jeff Bolton Racing, having a bit more of a pedestrian day, just inside the top 20. Still a solid day for the 58 nonetheless. And moving our way up through the field, Eric DeMax has now fought his way underneath Villalobos, 2 Chevrolets battling for the race lead here at Atlanta.
Yeah, DeMax has already made some attempts at the lead prior to this. As a matter of fact, it was him who gave Steven Hunter, who's now 2 cars behind him, a little bit of a push to get him out of the way to try to go for the lead, as we see Zhao no doubt sulking in his car, which is, and hopefully he'll be able to get out and salvage some points. But right now, got the 3 Chevrolets right here battling, but got 1 Honda trying to say, 4 Chevrolets now, and 1 Honda trying to say something about all 4 of them.
And those 4 Chevrolets from 3 different organizations as well. So good parity at the front of the field. I see Nick Breeding back there in the Spa team with his teammate Hayes Green trying to make some headway in the field in the back end of the top 10. But up at the front, it continues to be a side-by-side battle between DeMax and Villalobos for the race lead. You got Chris Loudmore behind the 66 pushing him along. But Terzic, he's had a rough start to this race. He started on pole, didn't lead the opening lap, and now he's all the way down to a battle for 17th place.
Yeah, see David Meskhi there, one of those 3 SPM drivers who's already got the first win of the season out of the way. But this kind of racing, there's a chance for him to bounce back. I mean, you take a look at DJ Curtis there, the inside line ahead of Meskhi. He started 20th. He's already starting to move up here. Matter of fact, battling Steven Hunter right now for position.
And he's given a big shove to Nathan Stapleton in the 97, who started down in 26. So that 97's making his way to the front of the field pretty quickly. DeMax almost clear of Villalobos out of 4. Looks like he is going to clear this time. No, not quite. He's so close to clearing the 66, but he's got some more challengers, namely Braden Varga, who's been shot out of a cannon this race, to make his way to the front of the field. He started down at 14.
Yeah, and you talked about the 97 there. look where he is right now. Inside of Ryan Arnold and so many others, getting up there, and you got the 25 there coming up here. Spa's coming to play today.
Yeah, we've got a lot of all 3 of the Spa cars hanging in there in the top 15. We've got Hayes Green in 9th, Nick Breeding in 7th, Noah Hart just a little further back in the top 15, but still a strong day for the Spa team, and they've needed one. They've had a bit of an average start to the season, but Breeding and Green are going to try and give Lane Sanders something to smile about in this race as they battle with the likes of DJ Curtis, Andrew Langley, et al. Back there. But up at the front, 3 wide for the lead between DeMax, Varga, and Stapleton down the low with a push from Riley Hoover.
Yeah, Stapleton wants to make a statement here, because as is evident by the fact that he's doing everything he needs to do. Currently now side by side now for the lead, was for second, but get that valuable point. That's going to be all important no matter what the result at the end of the day is.
Yeah, and he's got to be thinking about the points because he's not had as fortunate a start to the season as his teammate Cody Lamas, who remember got that podium last week at Las Vegas. Stapleton's mired a little further down in the points, but runs like this will definitely help his cause. And keep in mind, next time out, we head to New Jersey, a track where last year Stapleton got a runner-up finish. So things are looking good for the 97 if he can keep this momentum going.
And what the challenge he faces right now is that 9 of Braden Varga, and then of course the Max. He didn't become the champion last year for no reason. As we take a look at the back of the field, excuse me, that they're still 3 wide for the lead here.
Yeah, and that's not really much of a surprise. We expect to see a lot of 3-wide racing at the start of the run. Maybe we'll see a little bit of separation once the tires start to age. And we will have a pit stop somewhere in this race, somewhere between lap 40 and 50. So these guys will have to keep that in mind. When do they come in? Do they get in early, get advantage of the fresh tires sooner? Or do they hang it out as long as possible, then pit to get the benefit of fresher tires than your competition at the end of the run?
But that last one, you definitely would have to expect that maybe some people towards the back of the field, or the middle of the field, even like Cody Lamas, like Jacob Pujols, and several others that I see back there just straggling behind this little pack here. They'd be the ones that you would expect to do such a maneuver to see if they can't get some kind of advantage, maybe regain some spots. Then you got to throw in the possibility of a caution, which we miraculously did not get that with the woes of Zhao.
And right now, Braden Varga looks like he's clear of Eric DeMax, so he crosses up in front of the 16 to take the lead of the race. But now Nathan Stapleton's making a move to his inside with a push from the 2 Robbers Racing teammates of Hooper and Bill Lobos. But now Stapleton's running in the middle. This gives the 69 car an opportunity to stick his nose in low. But Varga continues to lead that top lane, proving to be very helpful early on.
It is proving to be pretty strong, and it's how DeMax was able to hold on to the lead for most of the last several laps before Varga got clear. But I expect that as this race wears on, the entire track is going to become real good. But we talked about the tire wear; that's going to play a factor for sure. But for now, nice little pack here, even though it's fallen apart a little bit more.
We still have 10 cars in this main lead group here that are running 2x2, 5 rows deep. And you've got the likes of DJ Curtis and David Meskhi in this pack. Even though they started midfield, that doesn't mean they don't have good cars in the long run. They might have sacrificed some outright pace for some long-run drivability, and it's proving to be very useful here today as they currently run in the back end of the top 10 with their teammate Brandon Smith not too far behind them. But right now, it's the 2 Robbers teammates on the inside against the Fitzwater Australia Racing Dodge up high.
And Fitzy's got to be happy with what Stapleton's doing, although he did just check up a little bit and give Villalobos the lead again. But that 97's got a strong run going, and if he can keep up there for the remaining 50 laps after we cross this point here, that could be really a good day, and that's something that Fitzwater Australia really needs, especially after how things went for them last year.
And we'll keep in mind, this is their first season in the Nitro National Series, and it's off to a really good start with Lamas on the podium at Daytona, at Las Vegas rather. Stapleton having a strong run here. This is so far so good for that organization as Stapleton tried to cross up in front of Varga. That didn't work, so now he's trying to go low on Villalobos. You gotta improvise if you're gonna have a good day at Atlanta, and that 97's doing it well.
And of course, when I mentioned the woes of FAR last year, I mean as a team, as an entire team. But the fact that they're doing this good in the Nitro so far is definitely a good sign, and it's got to be making them feel a lot better after all that. And with everything that's going on right now for that team as they prepare to continue with this season and prepare for next year, they got all the equipment they need to do what they got to do this year, and I am looking forward to seeing how this race plays out and the rest of the season for them.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch throughout the rest of the season as we take a look near the tail end of the field here. A couple of stragglers at the tail end, but up at the front, it still continues to be a side-by-side fight between Villalobos and Stapleton. We got Brandon Smith now. He's fully joined the top 10 in that orange 92 back there. Ryan Arnold, 3 wide with him. But this 66, it's not surprising to see Villalobos do this well at Atlanta. Remember, he won the Truck Series race here last year. It was his first career win in that series. So he knows how to get around this place pretty well, and he's demonstrating that to good effect here.
And he's transitioning pretty well into the Nitro cars versus the turbo trucks. But, you know, the fact that as the 97 clears him, at least for the moment, he better watch out, because here comes here comes somebody who's proven himself a winner. Well, two people who proved themselves winners on the inside.
Yeah, it's tough to keep your eye on everything. There's so much action unfolding here at Atlanta. This is why the fans love coming here every single year. We turn up, and we love it so much. We've added a second race here later in the year. Looking forward to that as well. As Stapleton tries to come up in front of Villalobos to clear himself, and now we've got some new challengers, the two FPM teammates of Meskhi and Smith. They fought their way up to the top 5 with a push from behind from Eric DeMax.
And of course, DeMax just doing what he can to help, just to get himself back up there, which that's the name of the game usually when you're helping rival manufacturers get toward the front. It's to put yourself in a better position. And that's what he's done so far, but he's still got a little bit of traffic ahead of him if he wants that lead back.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him get back up there. It's a really fast car and everything, but right now, Villalobos has a new challenger, and it's David Meskhi. They're going to come across the line side by side at the line. Wow, Meskhi did get credit with leading that lap. He gets a bonus point for his troubles, but look at the margin he led that lap by. If that was the finish of this race, that would have been incredible stuff.
Remember correctly, we had you didn't tell you if that was a finish. Remember correctly, we had a finish like that last year when it was won by somebody who's not having as good of a day today, but this is good stuff right here. If we were to somehow have a battle like this toward the end of the race like last year, I would be very excited to see how this plays out.
And for reference, that was Mike White who won that race by 14 one-thousandths of a second over Jake McMillan last year. So, but now the focus is on this season's races. We're closing in on halfway. We're only about 7 laps or so from the halfway point of this race, and we still got about 10 cars in this main pack that still think they've got a shot at it. However, we still got a green flag pit stop to make, and that'll really spread the pack out down.
As tends to happen when you get this style of racing and similar at tracks, at any track that has it, it's going to be real interesting to see how it works out, because when you get a green flag stop, when you got pack racing like this, like you said, it can spread the field out, and you know, some of the fans might be a little less excited toward the end of it, depending on who's left.
We were focusing there for a moment on Hayes Green. He's doing a phenomenal job in the Spa 25. He's the only one of the Spa team that was able to hang on to this lead pack. Nick Breeding, Noah Hart, they kind of fell back into the second grouping a little bit, but this 25 has been able to keep in touch in 8th place, working on Riley Hooper right now for 7th. So this 25 car is first time in the Sanders Performance Autosport car at Atlanta, looking to demonstrate his worth, and he's doing a very good job of it right now in the top 10 quite easily.
Yeah, this is the run that he needs. Because, again, prove his worth, like you said, but at the same time, to reaffirm that he belongs. Because when you've been driving for different teams throughout your career, and I can't remember exactly what things were like for him before Spa, but so far it's looking like the right move as far as to this point. And if a podium or a top 5 or top 10 in general would really go a long way toward proving that he belongs.
And last year he drove for the now gone Project Horizon Racing, actually got a win at Talladega last season, but that was I hate to say it, but it was a backmarker team. Now he's with the Spa Group, and he's expected to win races this year. He hasn't quite gotten there yet, but he's off to a really good start, and he's making moves up into the top 5. He's 3 wide with the FPM cars, and he's getting a push from Stapleton in the 97.
Yeah, that's a manufacturer out of, I don't want to say teammate or ally, but they both work at the same manufacturer, so for right now, they may have to work together if they want to do something about the Chevys and Fords they're now surrounded by.
Absolutely, because look at this. We got a battle for the lead now between Braden Varga and Eric DeMax. So, because remember, Varga last week came up just 1 spot short of the victory in second place. Wouldn't he love to redeem himself at Atlanta with a win here? But he's got to get by Eric DeMax to make that happen first, and he's 4/1000ths of a second off of doing that right now.
And it's said you're putting halfway, got another lap after this to do it, but it's hard to determine who's going to win out of these drivers until the pack starts thinning out more, especially once those stops happen, like we talked about. But there's any number of things that could shake this all up still. But for now, everything is looking pretty good and exciting for this group.
And now Villalobos from third on the previous lap comes up to take the lead once again. So this 66 probably has the best car here, I'd say, of this lead pack, with maybe the 16 a close second. But Villalobos has the hot setup at Atlanta. He won the truck race here last year. He's dominating this as easily as you can dominate a race at Atlanta, as unpredictable as it is. But Villalobos has the hot ticket here at Atlanta, and he is cruising out in front, although I think he might just have been beaten to the line right there by DeMax.
Yeah, he was, but that 66, that driver, I remember watching last year all the outcomes all the races that he ran and the wins he had. Honestly, could have been a good title contender all the way to Homestead, but some rotten luck late in the season, including fuel mileage at North Wilkesboro, killed that. But here he is in a new series, already proven that he can do what it takes to drive these cars. And who knows, we could be talking about him being a championship contender by the time we get to the chase.
And meanwhile, we've had a couple cars fall off this league group. Ryan Arnold's almost fallen back to the second pack almost. But DJ Curtis, Riley Hooper, they're starting to fall off a little bit too. And maybe even Stapleton and Green as well. So this could very well boil down to 5 cars now as we approach lap 40. And that pit window, which is also all very important, who's going to be the first one to blink for tires and who's going to hang it out just that little bit longer.
That's going to be fun to see. And I mentioned it earlier, the ones who might want to try to see if they can't get an advantage, I would expect to be the ones that are not up at the front right now. See if they can try something to get, see if the overcut or the undercut works. Find out. It's only one stop, and you can't really learn for the next stop in this situation. But at the same time, you got to try something to see if you can improve your situation.
And right now, things can't be improved too much for Eric DeMax or Paul Villalobos. They both lead the way here today, as the first lap car up the road is about half a lap ahead, so they shouldn't have to worry about that for the time being right now. But we still have about 7 cars in this league group. Ryan Arnold's been caught now by that second pack. But DeMax and Villalobos, 0.003 of a second apart at the line. This is some epic stuff in Atlanta, and we still have 30 laps to go.
Yeah, this is some good racing right here. It was a little more exciting earlier when there was more pack, but the tires are starting to wear out, and cars are starting to show their strengths and weaknesses in the long runs. And right now, I think these could be the ones we see fighting for the win if things play out well enough after the green flag stops.
Which we're in the window now for those stops to unfold. We're hit lap 41, and Eric DeMax just nosed out Villalobos for the lead on the previous lap. I think he's tried to get clear of the 66 down the back straightaway, didn't quite manage to do so. So now, the 66 is going to have a really big run through 3 and 4 years. You see, no, never mind. DeMax and Brandon Smith are the first ones to hit pit road, and Hooper, and Lattimore.
Looked like Langley was going to try to.
Oh yeah, Langley missed the entry, so he's going to have to go another lap on pit road. Stanley Andrews looks like he beat all of them to pit road on the previous lap, as did Justin Whitmer. So keep an eye on the 33 and the 32. They might have the hot ticket over everybody else.
Yeah, that's the thing to say. And Andrews, he started 15th, but that 33 was like all of Stormbreak is still trying to make sure we know what's going on with the Mercedes group, because we're the note writers pretty much on this. But I expect him to have a good to have at least a good run in the short term with the fresher tires before everyone else comes in and has fresher tires than him and whoever else pitted with him. But for Langley here, as we shift to focus on him, that's a tough pill to swallow when you miss your pit entry.
He figures now if he missed it on the undercut, he might as well try for the overcut, as a couple of guys are actually going to hang it out even longer than expected. Meskhi is up there, Nathan Stapleton, Hayes Green, DJ Curtis, they're all running up there. Blevins has stayed out, he's made his way up to the top 5. Noah Hart, David Richardson, Keon Daly, and Langley. Gutierrez is up there. All of those cars have not yet pitted, and I'm very curious to see when they plan on pitting in this race, because you leave it too late, you might not have enough time to get back up there.
Yeah, that's the big problem with trying an overcut strategy, especially with the number of laps in this race. You don't want to push it too far, don't want to jump too soon in case your strategy is the winning move, but you don't want to jump too late in case your strategy would have been the winning move and you just took too long.
Because look at Shantley Daniel in the 19. He just blew past Meskhi as if he was standing still. Because look, Keon Daly, he's had enough. He's coming to pit road. In the 20, he was running in 7th position. Oh, this is going a lot further in this race than I perhaps expected. Look at Nate Champion, for example. Blowing past David Richardson. He's going to get Noah Hart and Ashton Blevins in this next corner here. That's the difference between fresh tires and tires that are 45 laps old.
And you can see even Jesse Johns there, the 13, he started dead last, and fresher tires, regardless of what position you're actually in, as we see Meskhi finally come in, fresher tires will do wonders for you no matter what position you're scored at.
But for now, Nathan Stapleton takes over the lead of the race, and I'm curious to see, because he was running in the back of that pack for a little while. He might have been saving his stuff back there, I'm not sure, but you'd be very hard-pressed to make it to the ends of the race from here. As you see Hayes Green now swoop to the outside, going to try and test his luck against the 97.
And you got DJ Curtis back there as well, but well, we get a little bit of side-by-side action right here. I don't want to see them go too long because while I'm not their crew chief or their team owner, I don't think that holding out too long, we talked about it, is the winning move.
Let's look at these lap cars. There's Champion and Johns. They're going to sail on by as they continue to fight for the lead. Curtis isn't too far behind either, and Green going to test his luck again on the outside. He's going to get the lead from Stapleton here, but yeah, this is a bit of a question mark for me. I would have expected everybody to have come in by this point in the race. These guys, and it's not just these 3 that have stayed out. I have Blevins back there, Noah Hart, David Richardson. These guys back here, they're all in the same position. None of them have made a pit stop yet. Brandon Smith, Eric DeMax, they have, and they've passed Angel Gutierrez now to unlap themselves. But you've got to wonder at this point in the race if these guys even plan on coming in the first place.
And you see Lassard there, he's currently 9th, and you've got Blair in the 5 back there in 10th place. This would be a very, very bold strategy to try if they are actually going to try it. Just right there, Blair, and then you got so many different drivers here. You got that are that are working to unlap themselves while these drivers are still out there, and you just see them zipping on by. It's got to be weighing on the current top 10. How long are we going to put up with these drivers zipping by us on fresher tires before we decide enough is enough?
We'll put it this way. You've got everybody except the top 15 trapped a lap down now. If a caution were to come out, you'd be rolling in it right now. You'd be saved. But I don't know, it's still so much to ask for. Look at Charette blasting past Stapleton, who actually, and Hayes Green's done. He's coming to pit road this time.
Yeah, and you were talking about Charette. Charette, while we continue to focus on the rest of the top 10 here, yeah, we saw Charette's not been having the greatest of days. Right now, that's the car at Stormbreak that we're trying to figure out the most. But fresh tires, I said it. It doesn't matter if you're 2 laps down, if you pass, and if the leader is on a much older tires, and you just got fresh rubber a few laps prior, you're gonna zip by.
we're into the final 20 laps now. I'm getting the strangest feeling that everybody down to about Tegan Fox in the 44, maybe a few cars behind them, I don't think they're gonna try and. I don't think they're even planning on pitting in this race. It's a bold gamble from these guys like Noah Hart, Ashton Blevins, etc. But they weren't gonna win this race by doing what the leaders did, so they might as well test their luck, see what they can get out of this. As Brandon Smith and Eric DeMax now get back on the lead lap, unlapping themselves from Stapleton.
Yeah, and meanwhile, you talk about drivers making gambles. DJ Curtis doesn't really even need to make this gamble. He's already got his first win of the season. I know he wants another one, but at the same time, there comes a point where even somebody who's already got that first win out of the way, while yes, you want another one, you got to say enough's enough. I'm coming in, and it looks like Curtis is actually doing that right now.
No, not quite.
No, I thought he was for a second there. He got a little low on the track.
That's just the difference in speed between him and those around him. Because you see Braden Varga now unlapping himself from Nathan Stapleton. And there's Cody Lamas. Look at the difference in speed between the two teammates at Fitzwater Australia Racing. Lamas just unlapped himself from his teammate like the 97 was standing still. Here comes Elijah Ironhouse, Nick Breeding, Riley Hooper. They're all going so much faster. You got to wonder at some point if a fast car trips over a slow one, that could bring a caution out.
And that could really jumble things up for the field because we have over half the field a lap or more down right now, and only one so far are out of the race. And yeah, if a caution were to come out because a faster car could not get around a slower car and ran him over, yeah, that's going to really mess things up. But for now, we're staying clean.
And look at Stephen Hunter practically pushing DJ Curtis through 3 and 4. The 30 doing whatever he can to try and get past the 22 to unlap himself. And this is very bold from the likes of Stapleton and Curtis, and even Blevins and Hart back there, 34. This is not something I expected when we came into the racetrack this morning. These guys are planning on making an entire 70 lap without a pit stop. That is incredible.
So extremely risky, as you saw right there. As you see the 30, the 31, you see the 38. You see so many drivers here zipping by Stapleton and Curtis, and you see it here. I'm getting a little nervous with this cluster that's caught Stapleton here as to whether or not one of them is going to do anything, going to cause a problem here by unintention.
Yeah, Alexander Rowe in the 14, he's trying to find a way past Stapleton in the Eclipse Group's home race for the organization. He's getting help from the pole sitter Terzic with David Meskhi behind the 97, but we're closing in on 10 laps to go. If you haven't pitted by now, I don't think it's even worth even trying to pit, because if you pit now, you're just throwing away your race.
You're throwing away your race, and you're throwing away a lot of points with it, which, if any for someone like DJ Curtis, who's started with the first checkered flag of the season in hand and at the top, you can afford a little bit of a risk here and there, but for someone like Stapleton and a few others in the top 10, you really can't afford it. One of them looking at is Richardson there in the 5th spot. Hasn't had the greatest of starts to the season in his new ride at Fair & Co, but if this pays off, several drivers who've had a rough start to the season could find themselves having something bright spot to talk about.
And a bright spot as well goes to that one racing team, the 5 and the 85, Blair and Shank. They've both stayed out, and they're running 9th and 11th right now, which would be a season best for that team. They've needed something to smile about so far, and with 10 laps to go, they're on pace for at least a top 15 day, as Hayes Green just breezes past Stapleton on his fresher tires. That 97 is just hanging on for dear life, hoping to survive 10 more laps.
And I'd say don't look now. As the final laps click off, I noticed that a certain number has just popped into the top 10 there. That 92, Brandon Smith. If things play out right, Although he's got over 16 seconds as of the last lap, but
He did get past the 5 though, so he'll now be up into at least 9th spot, and he just gained 3 seconds on the previous lap. So he is flying along, and he's bringing DeMax with him. This is enough time. If they keep up that pace, they can catch Stapleton even from 13 seconds back.
yeah, I guarantee they may even be less than 10 now if they continue to gain like they did that last lap. And we're looking through the scoring here, and yeah, they haven't crossed the line yet, I don't think. But
they're about
Stapleton's
to,
just
they gained another.
Okay, only a second, but still,
they gained a second and a half on that previous lap, which isn't a lot. But that might have been them trying to navigate some lap traffic. Stapleton, though, he's starting to face a little bit of pressure here from DJ Curtis for the race lead. This is really not something these guys should really be doing right now, because if they start racing each other for the lead, that's going to bring Smith and DeMax even faster to their bumpers.
yeah, that's you said it. They get side by side. It's like a lot of races where you have some good cars that are not.
Oh, we got one on pit road. Noah Hart. I think he blew a tire. That's what sent him to pit road. Tough break for the 18, who was on that alternate strategy. Didn't quite work out for Noah Hart.
No, you see now, Villalobos is in there. Smith is now under 10 seconds. And if he continues to gain at the rate of speed he's trying to, especially if Curtis puts more pressure on the 97, we could see him and maybe even DeMax having something to say about their strategy.
Yeah, Smith just gained 2 seconds on the previous lap. If he keeps that pace up, he will be right there in the final few laps. But he's got to get there first. Stapleton trying to fend off DJ Curtis while at the same time trying to preserve the life in his tires. He surely was told about what happened to Noah Hart earlier, so he's got to be worrying a little bit about the integrity of his tires. Can they make it to the end?
And that was another dodge. Even though tires don't care manufacturer, if that had been a motor, that would have probably
I see some smoke up ahead. We've had a spinner. It's Stanley Andrews in the 33. That's brought out the caution flag with 5 laps to go, coming to 4. And this could be the race for the win right here. Stapleton on the inside. Curtis up high, trying to steal it away at the last second. They're coming off turn 4. Curtis is going to nose at Stapleton. The question now becomes, will we get this race restarted?
Yeah, we're at that point where it could be it, and that would mean the FPM domination of the season would continue. Early domination would continue, but we don't know as we see the smoke from the incident here, and yeah, that's gonna stink for Stapleton if this is it for him.
But boy, did he put up a good fight if this is how it ends. And for Brandon Smith, he closed the gap by about 4 seconds on that previous lap. He would have easily caught up to Curtis and Stapleton, along with DeMax. They had already passed Ashton Blevins to move themselves up into 3rd and 4th. My goodness, this is going to be tight to see if we can make it to if we can get this race restarted. We're going to need the lights out on the pace car. Probably not this lap, but the next time around it will be a good indicator for it. As we're going to get you a look here at what happened to Stanley Andrews was the cause of the caution in the 33. He was the car we saw sliding around in 3 and 4. But we'll get you a look at that in just a moment. That's what put us under our first and likely only caution of this race. So this is Andrews coming out of turn 2. There's Noah Hart leaving the pits. Is this going to be... Oh, this is exactly what I was worried about. The slow car coming up on track out of the pits and a fast car approaching. And it was the 33 that got caught out there. When Noah Hart blended back onto the racetrack, he just caught the 33 in a bad way, and this was the move of the race right here. Stapleton got held up by some lap cars overtaking him, and that allowed Curtis to just sweep by on the outside.
And it was a real tough break for Stanley, not just as team owner, but just looking at it from the perspective of a driver who's been in close situations like that. You hate to see a slower car coming off pit road like that.
So despite one of his best efforts to clear the track and get things ready for a late restart, it's not going to happen. This race is going to finish under the caution flag, and for the fourth time in a row, Finguy-Psytomi Motorsports will be victorious if they can hang on under caution for just one more lap. And for the second time this season, it'll be the rookie DJ Curtis leading him home.
Yeah, we knew he was going to be good this season, but to think that his first 2 wins of the season would pop off this quick, again, as you said, if he can hang on and finish this race right where he's at, this may not bode well for anyone looking to, well, at least in the early going, for anyone trying to want to kick those Fords out of the way.
But I'm most impressed as we come to the white flag here under the caution. What I'm most impressed by is that so many of these drivers actually managed to make a no-stop work. We have Curtis and Stapleton 1-2, Ashton Blevins 5th, David Richardson 9th. I think Andrew Langley also stayed out. They're all going to get top 10s out of this, so it wasn't a bad call by any of them.
No, absolutely not. They made the call. Some of the others called their bluff, and it's no bluff. That's for sure.
Yeah, and my driver of the race has to be Nathan Stapleton. He started this race in 26th. He actually ends up leading the most laps of this race by staying out as long as he did. And I know it's not the win that he and Fitzwater Australia Racing was hoping for, but it ties a career best finish regardless, and that is still huge for that race team.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. He put a hard effort in. I don't know, maybe if the caution had to come out, maybe he could have held off Curtis, but honestly, at the rate they were getting, there was no way he could have held off Smith and DeMax. So the caution was a saving grace despite the lack of a race trophy.
Not for Stapleton, but it will be for DJ Curtis, who comes out of turn 4 for the final time at Atlanta. And for the second time in his very short Nitro National Series career, DJ Curtis batting .500 in his career so far. 4th race, 2nd career win.
Yeah, congratulations to him. It's incredible to see what FPM is able to do to start the season. And of course, you again, mad props to Stapleton and Fitzwater Australia Racing. They've definitely found something by starting a Nitro program, and you gotta give it to them for at least finding a way to do something good for the season with their drivers.
Yeah, Smith and DeMax gave it their all, but it's only 3rd and 4th for them. Ashton Blevins, though, gets his first top 5 of the season in 5th, ahead of Villalobos, who clawed his way back up to 6th after leading a lot of the race earlier. Braden Varga, another solid top 10 effort for him in 7th. Cody Lamas makes it 2 Fitzwater cars in the top 10 in 8th, ahead of Richardson and Langley. But boy, you want to talk about unpredictability. I would have never expected to see even one driver attempt to make this race without a pit stop, and we've had 5 such drivers do so with top 10 finishes as a result.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about Richardson. This is a result he needed, and while it wasn't under green, you gotta say something to him and for Langley after missing pit road before. Salvaged a 10th place finish out of that. Wasn't a disaster after all, like it can be for some drivers.
And imagine what could have been if he had made it to pit road and made that pit stop. He probably wouldn't have finished in the top 10, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But great work by everybody who be able to race their way in. And we have a little bit of a bumper cars going on the pit road here, but it looks like it was all good sportsmanship. So, real good race. I'm glad I was able to be here for it.
What a race it was, for sure. But from James Ellison and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for one of the more bizarre races at Atlanta we've ever seen, as Jesse Johns and Nate Champion limped their way back to pit road. I think something's amiss with one or both of those cars. I guess we'll diagnose that afterward. But We'll see you again in a couple weeks at New Jersey Motor Speedway for race number 5 of the season. And Nathan Stapleton's got to be smiling if we're heading there, because he led a lot of laps there last year in a backmarker car and finished on the podium. Now that he's with a good team, I would expect him to be strong right out of the gate there. But until we see you at New Jersey, so long from Atlanta. Congratulations to DJ Curtis, who made the winning pass of the race right at the very last moment, and he only led 5 laps of this race. They were the most important 5, the final 5. He's a winner once again.